Hold on, I need a water break after that one. All right, back to the emotions. Chapter 17, 5:10 a.m. The upended submarine continues to sink, slowly but surely. A long, long journey to the bottom of the sea. Lynne and the little lady found the darkness and the salt water closing in on them, but at the very last second, something saved them. Now it looks down at them quietly. My head is filled with one giant question. What in the world is this thing? It's a claw made out of flashlights and bottles? And junk? Ah! Hi? Hi. Oh, that's who was talking. I see you managed to survive, Detective. Hey, you're... Excuse my appearance, I seem to have lost my body. Well, alright, that explains a few things. And you're like, it does? Yes, it actually does. Because, like, all this junk was being, like, it wasn't even connected. It was just, like, being manipulated. And I was like, well, what is this all of a sudden? I guess that makes sense if evil Sissel, for lack of better name, like, we know that he's got the strongest powers of anybody. So, like, if anyone's gonna, like, make an amalgamation of just stuff, it'd be him to do it. All right. Now, why did he save her? I don't know. Oh, and you there. You're the ghost who's been saving Lynne all evening, aren't you? But you knew about me all along? Of course, what else would explain all those unnatural things happening? If you knew, how come you didn't do anything about it all this time? And how come you decided to save us all of a sudden? I thought you wanted to get revenge on us. I don't really know. Please, you gotta tell me. I need to know. Who in the world are you? Sissel, look at you. What happened? I can't hold on to that image of myself any longer. You can't remember who you are? That's right. I came all this way tonight trying to chase down my lost memory. For quite a bit of tonight, I thought I was you, Sissel. Sissel? My name isn't Sissel. I bet you'll remember really soon. Who you are, and who I am, too. Wait, what? The man in front of me is not me. I'm even further away from the truth. But maybe not. Something is stirring in my mind, a memory about to emerge. Do I know this man? Now that I've shed my image of myself, I feel like I'm one step closer to the truth. They got us good. It's all over for this submarine. Its engine room is destroyed. There's a hole in the hull, and it's sinking as we speak. What are you doing here? I thought you had to deal with those people. They betrayed me. I was a fool to trust them. They already have what they want now. The Temsik fragment. I didn't know they had it all figured out. You mean they figured out the source of your powers? Yeah, the meteorite's radiation has two effects on living creatures. It gives power and time. If you don't mind, we'd like to hear more. Right? The effect of the powers. These 10 years, I've been watching that junkyard superintendent do his research. I think I've kind of got some of it figured out. The meteorite's radiation gives spirits special powers, like possessing and manipulating objects. And in my case, swapping objects. Exactly. Apparently, there are individual differences in the powers we get, and it seems these powers change as time goes by. Wait, they do? Yeah, my powers have changed over these past 10 years. At first, I could only manipulate small living creatures. Now then, how do you suppose we got these powers? Simple. It is, how then? In a nutshell, we died while exposed to the energy emitted by the meteorite. It's radiation. That's what it does? Dying while being exposed to that radiation? On that day 10 years ago, a fragment of that meteorite pierced my heart and I died. So of course, I received special powers. Hey, wait a minute. Is that how I got my powers too? You know, you might be right. Okay. Aren't the Temsik remnants still right there in the park at the bottom of the crater? You're right. So that must mean I died in the presence of the meteorite radiation too. Okay, so this time effect tell me about. Another effect of the meteorite's radiation has on us is that it gives us time. Again, I think this time effect is centered around the theme of death, but it's not all that clear. So the fact I can return to 4 minutes before a person's death is another effect of the meteorite? One of the characteristics of the meteorite is its ability to replay the moment of death. Replay the moment of death? Ah, this is so strange and confusing. I can't take it all in. It makes about as much sense to me as anything else. Yeah, strange and confusing. That about sums up the object that pierced my body that day. Thanks to that meteorite fragment, my very existence is a contradiction. What do you mean? That day, when the fragment pierced my heart, I lost my life. However, because it remained inside of me, the fragment continued to constantly regenerate my body. In other words, my body was continuously cycling between the moments that separated life and death. What? My body's vital functions stopped 10 years ago, but my body's time is perpetually stopped at the moment just before death. Time just stopped, huh? So I simply existed, not really alive, but not really dead. That pretty much sums up the last 10 years for me ever since that incident in the park. My body hasn't aged a day, my hair hasn't grown an inch. To think of it, that old pigeon guy mentioned something. He said he couldn't cut this guy's body with the scalpel. So I guess as soon as an incision was made, his body would be regenerated. Whoa. Interesting. Interesting way to do that. It actually reminds me, it's really similar to, spoiler alerts for a, anime that's more than 20 years old at this point. But if you haven't seen the original anime Cowboy Bebop, spoiler alert for an episode, it reminds me of that episode back in Cowboy Bebop, what's it called? Like Do for the Devil, or, no, it's not that. It's, Sympathy for the Devil. There we go. With the kid that's, like, frozen in time, in a similar way that, like, he doesn't age and he doesn't die because he's frozen in time from the gate explosion. And it's not only until, like, they shoot him with the bullet with the, I forget exactly the details, but it's something from the gate explosion, so, like, the energy is reintroduced to him, and then he just, like, instantly ages. However long it was. It's been a while since I've seen the episode. I don't remember all the details, but it's very similar to this, that in that one, it's like the thing exploded in like a time-space explosion and froze the guy in time like the moment before he died, and he couldn't age or be hurt or anything like that because he was frozen in a spot in time. And then it wasn't until like they reintroduced the time back to him that everything went back to normal. So it's interesting. So I wonder if it's going to be the same in this, like if he, you know, gets reintroduced back into the flow of time normally, if he'll like instantly age 5 years or whatever. I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, tell us about your revenge, or more specifically, why you don't want to take it anymore, I guess. Because like, you could have just let her drown. Before I left this country, I wanted to do one thing. Wanted to get revenge on the people who stole our lives. Our lives? As part of the deal, I made those guys promise to cooperate. Cooperate? You mean the kidnapping? All went fine. I manipulated the justice minister and made him issue the execution order. I thought he might call off the execution at the last second. So that's why you wanted his daughter kidnapped. But they kidnapped the wrong girl. Little did I know, they had their own reasons for cooperating with me. Huh? Their objective was to wipe out everybody who had to do with Temsik. Detective Jowd was one such person, so they were happy to cooperate. Inspector Cabanella and that junkyard super, they were slated to be wiped out too. And, as it turns out, I was one of their targets as well. So they stole my Temsik fragment, and here I am. But they had one more final target. You, detective. Me? I mean, that makes sense. You were there. The 10 years, like, if they're trying to wipe out anyone who was there, you were literally there. Why me? If you weren't there in that park that day 10 years ago, I never would have thought of doing something as stupid as taking a hostage. There you go, blaming the victim again. Oh, okay. No, don't feel bad, Lynn. Like, Sissel, yes, I know your name's not Sissel, but you haven't told us what it is. So, for the all points, all intents and purposes, Sissel, you don't get to blame Lynn for playing in the park. No, don't say okay. I was just a little kid playing in the park. Yeah, I know. Huh? 10 years later, you become a detective looking into Jowd's case. Tonight, I invited you to a quiet spot on the edge of town. It was a trap, you see. Ooh, do we get to hear what he finally said? Oh, I told you who I was. You never saw my face that day 10 years ago, so of course you didn't recognize me. I took possession of you to make you shoot me. Yes, we know that part. Your subconscious resisted me. Such incredible power. It was the first time I wasn't able to control someone completely. The aim was off. The first shot missed the mark. Junkyard was equipped with security cameras. I knew you'd be wanted for murder. That was my plan anyway. But they had other ideas. They simply wanted you wiped out. But then... Ooh, I feel a reveal coming on. Do I need a screenshot? I might. Something threw a big monkey wrench into their scheme. I showed up. Oh. Never mind. Just that part. We knew that part. What a twist! The protagonist that started the game showed up. Hooray! I was supposed to meet up with them after that. But then something went wrong. What happened? My body disappeared. Ah, the inspector in white was responsible for that one. My precious bargaining chip was in the body. I had to get it back no matter what. That inspector caused me no end of trouble. But why were those people targeting me? I never even heard of the Temsik meteorite. Because you were looking into the Jowd case. They thought you'd find out about Temsik sooner or later. And that's pretty much the whole story. The only thing left to do now is wait for water pressure to crush the submarine. No! There are no cores that link from here to the water's surface. And I have an idea, we could hook up the phone line, and there are no communication cables down this deep. They meant for the submarine to be my coffin, a coffin for the dead. There is no escape. I think I kind of understand now. What you've been feeling these 10 years? What? This feeling cut off from the world, all alone in a submarine? Sinking slowly toward the bottom of an endless sea? This must be how you felt all along. Lynn? Kamila! Is it true we're stuck here? What? Oh, If my dad was here, I bet he'd save us. Kamila, I'm so sorry. Huh. That's funny. What is, Sissel? There's something I don't understand. Why would they go all the trouble of detaching the control room? What? Why didn't they just steal the Temsik fragment and escape if that's what they wanted? Why'd they have to jettison your body off into the sea? That's a good question. Guess it doesn't matter why now. We'll never find it again. We have no idea where it was launched to. Wait a minute. Yes, we do. This will tell us where Detective Jowd is. Present from the inspector in white. That's right, Detective Jowd told me to hold on to it for him. And the bullet's still in this person's body in the command room, right? Then we should be able to tell exactly where it is with this. But even if we find out where it is, how do we get there? We should be able to figure something out between the three of us with our powers, right, Miss Lynn? Right. Oh, and wait a minute. What about a torpedo? Torpedo? In any case, it's way too early to give up. Looks like Detective Jowd is our last hope. Come on, let's get started. Huh, interesting, though, that he doesn't have a core, even though he's still there. Very bizarre, the way his stuff works. All right, let's, talk with Kamila. So my dad isn't here on the submarine? Now, don't worry, we're gonna go get him right now. Okay, I hope I didn't hurt Lynn's feelings. What I said about my dad saving us if he was here. Don't worry about that. Comments like that roll out right off Miss Lynn's back. She's thick-skinned. Ow. I'm gonna start being tougher, too. I want to make my dad proud of me. Miss Kamila. I'm sure your dad is proud of you, Kamila. Come on, there we go. So his shell is definitely there in the command room, right? Just without the fragment? Well, it's there, yeah, but I don't know about calling it a shell. Detective Jowd's watch will tell us exactly where it is. Yeah, right, he said it was a radio receiver. Might be still another torpedo on this submarine. If we use it, we can get to Detective Jowd. That's a brilliant plan, Detective. You think so? So what are you gonna do, ride on top of the torpedo? Of course not. You guys are going to. Oh, darn. I don't wanted to see that. Did you want to see me drown? All right, so I guess operate the control panel. I can't go anywhere else, so. Oh, have some grapes. Delicious grapes. Why is this machine shoving grapes at me? Well, this looks like the private cabin of the top officer, doesn't it? This machine is probably for feeding him grapes when he lies in bed. It sounds heavenly. I've been thinking about this for a while, but don't you think that country's use of technology is a little off? Says the guy who made a deal with said country. Anyway, it looks like the arm of this machine is a bit busted. Okay, to the torpedo room. Torpedo room, huh? Might be another torpedo. I'll go check it out. I get it. You're gonna use a missile to ram the control room. Well, I don't know about ram, but we don't want to blow Detective Jowd up. Something like that. We'll climb up to the torpedo room too. Up is definitely safer. All right, see you there. Looks like the torpedoes can be launched manually with these switches. There are 2 tubes, so there should be 1 more left. I guess the first thing we have to do is load it into the tube. When it comes to missiles, you can count on me. All right, I'll enter the coordinates of the command room into the torpedo. And I just turned on the backup power. We ought to be able to use the switches now. All right, let's give it a try. Oh, you're in that one, I see. Well, let's flip this. This switch won't budge. I don't think the entire device is broken. It'd probably work fine if only I could move this switch. We'll just have to find a way to move it somehow. Well. Can I missile your... What will happen to these 2 ladies? Oh, that's up to us and our powers. What? There's no time to be standing around, unsure of ourselves. Will you lend me your strength missile? Me, of course I will. Count on it. There we go. So first point of business, let's just see, can I flip the other switch? Plunk, nothing happens. Oh no. Whatever can we do? I guess that's, okay, so that's why they just don't let you, like they make you, no, stop. Use missiles so that, okay, there we go. Whoop, whoop. Now we just be a little bit of you. And a flop. Bung bung. There we go. That torpedo looks serviceable. All set on this end too. Something's odd. What? The command room. It looks like it's slowly sinking. Sinking? Yeah, like it's completely run out of power. I wonder what happened. I don't know. Guess I'm gonna find out. Right, okay, hop into the missile. I'll launch it for you. You coming too, missile? Missile in the missile. I've already set the torpedo's course. It'll head to the command room where Detective Jowd is. 12 seconds after launching, it'll pass by the command room for an instant. That instant will be your window of opportunity to jump over to the command room. Okay, got it, and we'll find a way to come back and save you. This will probably be my last task tonight. Just hold on till we get back. It's true. You're almost gone if that's true that you disappear at 6. And look at that, and you're saving everyone with your last moments. Come on, Missile. Missile? I'm sorry, I can't go. What? I just can't. How could I leave? I can't leave Miss Lynne and Miss Kamila behind. I can't do it. Missile? I swapped the switches so the missile can be launched. You'll have to do the rest, Sissel. I can't do it either. I can't ask Missile to come with me after that. I understand exactly how he feels. I want you to go, Missile. What? But Miss Lynne! You staying here won't change our fate. But if you go with Sissel, you might be able to make something happen, and that's our only hope. But what if this something doesn't happen? I'll never be able to see you again, never ever again. Even I can understand that. I couldn't stand that. Don't worry, Missile. Miss Kamila? I just know you and Sissy can make something happen. I believe in you. I'll be right here waiting for you. We'll see each other then, don't worry. Miss Kamila! Hold on, I need a water break after that one. All right, back to the emotions. Kamila! That's a good boy, Missile. Now, are you ready? Remember, it's 12 seconds after I throw this switch. You're ready. Sissel? Yeah? We never found out who you really were. But it doesn't matter now. All I know is I'm truly glad I met you tonight. Thank you for everything. I'm glad I met you too, Detective. We're gonna see each other again, right, Sissy? Right, Missile? Yeah, that's right. We promise, little lady. Of course we will! I'll never forget you, no matter what happens. Hey, here goes then. Good luck, friend. Preparing to fire torpedo. These 12 seconds are lasting an eternity. I strive to think of a way to save Lynne and the little lady the whole time. How can a ray of light, of hope, reach this far down in the deep sea? Or I can think of an answer. 12 seconds are up. Detective Jowd! I bet that big masked man did this. I'm gonna bite him! You better not. You might break your teeth. Androm has lost power and is sinking. So I wonder what this masked man is gonna do. Let's talk to Detective Jowd. Hey, I can also, well, I mean, I can't, but there's a Sissel's core. Hey, sorry for the wait, Detective Jowd. Who are you? Wait, are you Sissel? Yeah, excuse my appearance. I can't believe you made it here. How was Kamila? What about Lynne? Well, it's a long story. Told Detective Jowd about everything that happened on the submarine Yonoa. So the submarine is badly damaged. Why would he do that to his own submarine? I don't know. I wish I knew. I know the answer. Oh, I know the answer to that one. It's because he's afraid of my powers. You? You followed us? I didn't even notice. It's been 10 long years, Detective Jowd. Are you Yomiel? Alright, well, I'm back. After changing the background again for this final chapter, and, I don't know, there wasn't really a pronunciation of, Yomiel, but because it's from the Book of Enoch, I'm assuming it's something like Yomiel. So, there you go. Hey, but now we have his name. So you remember me, do you? How could I possibly forget? So that's your real name, huh? Yomiel? That's right. But those people on the Yonoa were calling you Sissel? That's just an alias I was using for my deal with them. I didn't see any need to tell them my real name. Could you do me a favor? Will you let me ask you some questions? I've been trying to find out my true identity all night. Sure, go ahead. I'm sure there's plenty we can still tell you. Right, Detective Jowd? Right. 10 years ago, you were a top systems engineer, weren't you? Systems engineer? What's that? By the way, I'm a top Pomeranian, you know. Well, it's kind of hard to explain to a dog, but it's a person who's very good at using computers. I don't mean to brag, but I was one of the best in the industry. That's how I got roped into joining that project. Project? What project? Project aimed at reorganizing the nation's top secret information. The goal was to build a new system using multidimensional programming theory. I was asked to join the project by an agent of the government. It doesn't sound like something a top Pomeranian would know anything about. Me, it just sounded like another challenging job. However, this project was also the target of a secret plot. Bet you can imagine the kind of crime the nation's top secrets might attract. Never thought for the life of me I'd ever have to deal with spies. It was never made public, but every organization in the country moved on this one. And then, one day, the name of a certain programmer emerged as a suspect. I was the guy who built the core of the system. The police arrested you, and then that incident happened. You escaped from the interrogation room, took little Lynn as a hostage. By the way, Detective Jowd, when was it that I was proven innocent? About 6 months after your death. I'm so sorry, Yomiel. 10 years ago. My soul was split from my body. I lost everything. I was sealed in eternal darkness. I existed in this world, no question about that. But nobody noticed my presence. What good were my powers? They didn't help anybody. Not even the passage of time could heal my pain. In fact, it only made it worse. I wanted to just disappear. But I wasn't even allowed to do that. The way Lynn described it is exactly right. Sinking slowly toward the bottom of an endless sea. Overwhelming feeling of loneliness and despair. And I wanted all of you to suffer what I was suffering. So that's why you murdered Alma. That's right. I wanted you to know what it was like to lose everything you cared about. I wanted you to feel the same pain I felt. What? It was the twisted wish of a mind poisoned by infinite loneliness. And then as I was plotting my revenge, I had an idea. I came up with a plan to use these powers of mine to make a deal. There's something I just don't understand about that deal. I'm sure your powers would be very valuable to them, but what would you get out of it? A new life. Life. I asked them for 2 conditions. Number 1 was that they helped me with my revenge plot. The second was a rebirth for me. Rebirth, a new beginning, huh? I didn't care if it was a fake life, an artificial life. I just wanted a physical receptacle for my soul, a name, and identity in everyday life. I wanted to grow old in a society that would accept me. Finally, I wanted to die surrounded by a loving family. That's the kind of life I asked them for. A completely man-made life. That's right. I knew I couldn't hope for anything more than that. To make it all come true, I knew it would take a lot of money and a lot of power. So I decided to ask a national government to help. Their response, in the end, was betrayal. They were making their moves much more carefully than I suspected. They sent spies to this country and researched my powers on their own. And they even figured out what Temsik was all about. And you had no idea they were doing all this? None at all. I was a fool. So, then why did they go all the trouble of making a deal with you? Why didn't they just steal a hunk of the Temsik meteorite from the park? They couldn't. Wait, what? After the manipulator incidents, research was conducted in this country too. A report was submitted to the government about the source of the manipulator's power. By Inspector Cabanella and the old pigeon guy. At first, the government didn't believe the report. But then they decided to put the park under surveillance, just in case. Surveillance? Yeah, it looks just like an ordinary peaceful park, but there are armed agents there at all times. Well, don't tell me that odd leaflet guy is one of them. No, not him. He's just a plain old odd person. I like that. There's secret agents there the whole time. He's like me? Like, no, not like him. He's just a weirdo. The park is like a silent battlefield on an international scale. So that's why they couldn't steal the Temsik meteorite. And lately, under the pretense of building a housing site, they've been working on a plan to destroy the park in order to secure the meteorite. So that's it. So the upshot of your grand deal was this. Yeah, it's the ending I deserve. At least there's one thing you must be happy about. What's that? You managed to seal me away at the bottom of the sea forever. Well, should we get started? Started with what? Bringing Detective Jowd back to life, of course. Wait, what? What good will that do? We promised! We promised Miss Lynne and Miss Kamila we'd save them. Can't do that without you, Detective Jowd. I've been guided by fate tonight to this place. I'm not gonna give up now. Alright, fine. Let's see where it leads us. Alright, here we go then. Back to 4 minutes before your death. I have a thought. Okay, let's watch this first, though. So, where are we headed? We are not headed anywhere, Detective. What? There was only enough fuel on board to launch us away, Detective. We will run out soon, and that will be our destination. What are you talking about? That would mean that you're trapped here, too? Ah! By the way, I am not human, Detective. Yeah, I kind of gathered when you pulled your head. And of course, in this serious moment, like, I'm not human, blah, and then he's just like, da-da-da-da, Globetrotters. Oh my goodness. What? Your country's use of technology is just plain off. Hey, your disciple, follower thinks so too. We get that a lot, Detective. Yeah, I wonder why. Why would you go all to the trouble? Why would you go to all the trouble to do this? That's nothing but a shell there. It's hardly a threat anymore. Commander Sith likes to provide against any possibility, no matter how small, Detective. Possibility? What are you talking about? There is no need for you to know, Detective. Oh my goodness. That's one way to do it. Now it is time to say goodbye, Detective. Before this continues, I have a thought. Actually, I'm not gonna say what I'm gonna do. I have a notepad. And I have a pen. I'm going to write down what I think is gonna happen. Because if I'm right, I don't want to spoil it for people who are still not quite there yet. And if I'm wrong, then like, that never happened. No, I'll admit I'm wrong if I'm wrong, but more to the point, I just want to be like, yes, I called it if I'm right. Okay. There. I wrote that down. Got my secret thoughts right here. Woo! Woo! Can't see it. Actually, I can just be like, woo! You can see I wrote something down, but not enough to read it. I guess unless you freeze the frame, but... Okay, let's see if I'm right later. In the end, your fate remains the same, it seems, Detective. Ugh. Kamila, forgive me. I mean, I guess that's nice of him to just shoot him instead of, like, let him asphyxiate in this submarine pod. Yeah, well, it's not over yet. It isn't? Remember what the big masked man said? Any possibility, no matter how small? Possibility. In other words, there must be a chance here somewhere, the possibility of turning the situation around. No possibility. Sad ending for everyone. This fun game has a depressing end. All right. What all do we have? Huh? What is it, Detective? Look at Yomiel's shell. There's no aura emanating from his body. Of course there isn't. The Temsik fragment's gone. Could this change in his shell give us some kind of lead? I don't know, could it? Maybe. To be fair, if it could, it's not... It's a little earlier than I was thinking, but... I figured it out. They know what this possibility, no matter how small, is that they're afraid of. What? My time was perpetually stopped thanks to the power of Temsik. His body cycled between the moments that separated his life and death. Right, but not anymore. The Temsik fragment's been taken away. Exactly, so what does that mean? Wait, I get it. Your body isn't going to come back to life anymore. The moment the Temsik fragment was removed, my shell became a corpse. So that means we can go back? Back to 4 minutes before your death? But wait a minute. Exactly when is that death? Well, that's simple. We'll find out when we get there. Let's move! Oh, it's back. Let me flip that. Whoops, wrong flip. So busy being smug that I can't even use OBS. To be fair, I didn't get it exactly right. I was a little bit off. So I got one part, the end part wrong there, that because he's frozen in time. But they're saying that the possibility is that if you go back, not just to Jowd, but if you go back in time and save Yomiel. Now, I will admit, as it says here, I have the proof that I sort of got it, but I was wrong about one part. I thought it was gonna be that it, because like they say, like you can't do it if the corpse has been dead for more than a day. And so what I thought that was is because he's constantly frozen in time, put this back, it didn't count as being more than a day. Which was not quite right. I guess the way they're doing it is he didn't actually die until right now. And so, like, his corpse is still less than 24 hours old, so that's why it's... So I was a little off on the details, but I called it, and that calls for a water break while we rewind time. I fell back through the cracks of time for what seemed like forever, and then I saw it. The final death at the end of this long night. Who exactly am I? I've already seen all the clues. All I have to do is remember. The final journey to the truth starts now. Oh. I thought there were 17 chapters. I was wrong. This is so strange and confusing. I can't take it all in. It makes about as much sense to me as anything else.